How to use window light to level up your video quality. Hi, I'm Clara Koo, owner of the creative agency Conquer the Digital Empire. When it comes to recording videos, I'm often asked, what lighting equipment do I recommend when on a budget? And my response, no matter what skill level, is that you should master natural light as your go-to lighting setup because it's free and you can make great looking videos without using any equipment at all. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through how to use a specific type of natural light called window light in order to level up your video quality. Now, when I say natural light, I'm referring to light that's created by the sun. This is the best type of lighting to start out with because it's absolutely free. And natural light can be used whether you're shooting your video indoors or outdoors. As I mentioned, we're going to be focusing on a specific type of natural light called window light, and that is light that is coming in through a window. And I'm going to share with you 2 tips on how you can use an easy window light setup. Tip number 1 is find the largest window in the room. So whenever I film indoors, I am choosing the room that has the largest window, and I position myself so I'm as close to that window as possible because the closer you are to a larger light source, the softer the light is going to be on you, and that's going to be more flattering on your face and body. You'll see here I have a picture of an Airbnb that I recently stayed in, where the largest window ended up being these glass sliding doors right next to the living room. I positioned both my phone and my laptop as close to the window as possible, so I'll be able to take advantage of that natural light coming in through those sliding doors. My second tip for the window light setup is to adjust your angle to the window. When you first position yourself and your camera close to the window, pay attention to the angle of your body in relation to that window because that's going to affect how the light and shadows are going to look on your face and on your body. And a rule of thumb is the more you turn away from the window, the more shadows you're going to see. Shadows aren't a bad thing. And in fact, the amount of shadows that you see in your face can actually contribute to the mood or the vibe of your video. I'll show you what I mean in the 3 different angles that I like to use when using window light. So in this first angle, I am directly facing the window. And you'll notice I have almost no shadows on my face. Everything is really brightly lit. This fits really well if the message that you're sharing in your video is very happy and upbeat. This is a great angle to start with, facing the window. This second angle is when you face the window, but at a 45-degree angle. So when you turn your body 45 degrees away from the window, you'll start to notice that there are shadows showing up in my face. They're appearing on the side of my face that is furthest away from the window. This is actually my favorite angle because the shadows actually end up defining my features and giving depth to my face. This is a really great go-to angle that can fit any vibe of video that you're going for. So I absolutely love this angle when using window light. And then the third angle I like to use is when the window is directly to the left or right side of your body, it creates what's known as split lighting. That name comes from light hitting one half of your face, so one split side of your face, and then the shadows on the other side of your face are darker and more obvious. This angle works well if you really want to add more contrast to your video, and it also works when you're going for a more dramatic look or moody vibe in your video. Maybe you're talking about a more serious subject matter. That's a good case when you might want to use this split lighting effect with the window to one side. So now that I've shared which angles to use, let's talk about some common pitfalls to avoid when using window light. The first major thing to avoid is don't have a bright window directly behind you, because when you have a bright window directly behind you, your camera has a hard time balancing the overall exposure of your video. So either the window is going to look okay, like in this example here on the left, but then you're going to look pretty dark. Oftentimes you look like a dark silhouette. Or the opposite will happen where you're going to look fine, but the window behind you is overexposed, otherwise known as way too bright, and that can look really distracting in the video. With both of these examples, just the overall quality of the image and the contrast is just a lot less than those other angles I was showing you in the beginning. Now, you could still have a bright window directly behind you if you have a second light source or a reflector that's bouncing light back into your face, and that can compensate for this dark silhouetted look over here on the left. But again, that requires a second light source, a second piece of equipment. So just to keep it simple, I recommend avoiding having the window behind you when possible. Now, you'll also want to pay attention to weather conditions when using window light. For example, on cloudy days or rainy days, there's not going to be as much sunlight, so there's a chance that your video may look too dark. You could also experience too much light, and that happens when you're filming in the middle of a sunny day, generally between 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., because that's when the light is high up in the sky and is really bright. And there's a chance that light can overexpose your body or your background so that everything just looks way too bright. And of course, there's the possibility that you'll have inconsistent light, because if the weather is changing throughout the day, like it's cloudy at 1 hour and then really bright and sunny the next hour and then thunderstorming in the afternoon, your light is going to change throughout the day and give you those inconsistent lighting conditions. This isn't really a big deal if you're filming a bunch of short videos, but if you're going to film a longer video where you want a more consistent look with your lighting, then you have to really consider this factor. In these situations, you have to record quickly, or you have to really plan your shots during days and times when the window light is going to be similar, so it can give you that consistent look and feel in your video. Now, it's really easy for you to look good using window light with the tips I shared earlier, but I do have some additional tips on how that light can look even better on you. The first tip I'm going to talk about is called diffused light. This is also known as soft light. Now, soft light is more evenly spread across a subject, and that means there's softer shadows on the face, and it's generally a more flattering image because wrinkles are less defined. This photo that we're looking at right now is actually from a portrait session that I did with an executive, where we took a photo of her in this conference room that had these really large floor-to-ceiling windows, which you can see a little bit behind her here. Because it was such a huge light source and it was towards the afternoon, the light coming through the window was really soft. So you can see how soft that lighting is on her skin. The shadows aren't completely gone, but they're there just enough to give definition face in her jawline and highlighting a little bit of the detail on her clothes. This is just one example of what soft light can really do to flatter your face and your body. For our window light setup, you can actually use sheer white transparent curtains, like in this picture, in order to diffuse the light. Many hotels and Airbnbs that we've stayed in often have this type of sheer curtain panel. So in this picture, here's an example of that heavy curtain material, and then the one I'm holding is the sheer white curtain material that's serving as a lining for that window. If you want to order this material for yourself, I recommend searching for sheer voile window curtain panels or a chiffon curtain panel material. And again, this material will help you during filming when the window light is too bright. All you have to do is put that fabric over the window, and that's going to soften the intensity of the light coming through that window so it's not so bright. Now, my second tip for creating more flattering light is to add a fill light. A fill light is defined as a second light source that fills in any harsh shadows so that they appear lighter. And a fill light doesn't actually have to come from a piece of lighting equipment. Like, you don't have to buy a ring light or a strobe light or whatever to get this effect. It can actually come from a reflective surface. So one example is on the opposite side of the window, you can hang a reflective material that will reflect window light back into your face so that it can lighten the shadows. And there's some DIY reflective materials that you likely have around the house already. You could use aluminum foil, a white poster board. I actually recommend investing in what's called a 5-in-1 reflector. You'll see I'm actually holding that in this picture here. And basically, it's acting the same way a white poster board would act, where if I hold it on one side of my face, opposite from the window, the light will bounce into that reflector and bounce back into my face. Now, it's called a 5-in-1 reflector because you'll commonly see that they're sold with these 5 different materials. So the white side is what will function often like that white poster board, as I told you. There are instances where you might want to actually lessen the light bouncing into your face. That's when you might use this black side. There's a gold and silver sheen fabric if you want to either add more warmth or more coolness into your image. And then the 5th one in the back acts like the diffusion fabric that I talked about earlier, where it's helping reduce the intensity of the light passing through the window. I really recommend getting one of these reflectors. You'll find a lot of these Amazon for $20 or less. I'll actually include a link to the 5-in-1 reflector that I recommend below this video so you can check that link out. But just some pictures of a 5-in-1 reflector in action. It can be used outside as well as indoors. In this picture right here, the sun is bouncing down into this white reflective surface and then bouncing directly into the subject's face here. And you can tell because her face is brightly lit. If this reflector wasn't there, then this part of her face would likely be much darker. And that is how you can use window light to level up your video quality. I hope you enjoyed these tips. They are truly universal, whether you're recording a video on your phone, a webcam on your computer, or with a camera. And I'd love to know which one of those tips was your favorite. Comment below. And if you want more tips like this to help you record videos for your social media, or if you're recording a course, then please follow Conquer the Digital Empire and be notified the next time we upload a video. Thank you for watching.